Hey, it's Heather Chauvin, wife, mother of 3 boys, former social worker, dreamer, recovering rescuer, stage 4 cancer survivor. I started my motherhood journey when I was 18. I was single and living off government assistance. Beyond all of these titles and labels, I'm a human being, just like you, attempting to navigate it all while feeling good. My goal on this podcast is to show you that you can live an energized, sustainable life both at home and in your work. On this show, I attempt to keep it real with stories, interviews, and random thoughts. This is not a business or career podcast, and it's not a parenting podcast. It's both and so much more. You will laugh, you will cry, and maybe even get a little frustrated with the truth you've been hiding from yourself. I believe all human behavior is a language, whether it's through your child's behavior, your health, or a relationship. And when we learn to listen instead of react, we begin to understand what it truly means to feel alive and in control. If you haven't already, go grab a copy of my book, Dying to Be a Good Mother. You can purchase it wherever books are sold online. And if you're interested in how to integrate this work into your life and get quicker results, you can learn more about my mastery and mastery business coaching experiences at heatherchauvin.com/work with me. Heather Chauvin, CHAUVIN.com/work with me. And you have a personal question or a topic you'd like me to answer on this podcast, then text me 313-710-5199. 313-710-5199. All right, let's change your life. Let's dig in. All right, Laura, welcome. We're doing a live, just putting you naked and afraid, like a live coaching on the podcast. So thanks for being brave.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm definitely a little unsure about how it's going to go, but I'm super excited.
The fear of the unknown and uncertainty, which I think is everybody's main fear. And I think in this topic, just saying yes to this opportunity is essentially what entrepreneurship and business and life feels like anyways. You're like, yes, oh crap, why did I say yes to that?
Yeah, I definitely felt like I should say yes, but then of course the mind chatter jumps in. But yes. I'm excited to dig in deep.
Awesome. And I love to push people in the deep end of a pool with no water wings and be like, I'm not sure if there's sharks in there. Brings me joy. Okay. Oh, good. So the question we're answering today is around a career move.
Yes.
So can you explain a little bit to me of the current work that you do in general, and then why you're considering a career move, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's great. So I've been in this area of business. So I work in a corporate environment. I've been doing it for 15 plus years. I've had a lot of success, a lot of financial stability, doing really well. And I could keep doing this and be fine. But I've been, like I said, doing it for a while. And I've just gotten to the point where I'm dialing it in. I don't get excited about it. And so I've gone back and forth between if I need to figure out a way to try to make it more exciting, though I feel like I've been trying to do that for the last 5 years, or if I need to seriously think about another position. And because I'm the main breadwinner of our family, it feels like a lot of chatter around that in my brain. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to work through.
Yeah, because you can't just say, oh, I'm done, I'm going to go, right?
Right.
So I love first of all, I love that you bring up, I've been doing this forever and it's kind of not a challenge for you anymore.
Yeah, very much.
And then it's like you'll shift positions, and this is just like the corporate mindset of shifting positions and then being like, not this, not this, not this. Like, it doesn't matter how often I pivot or go into circles. There's just something inside of me that's not lit up.
Oh my gosh, you just like read my brain. That was really spot on. Exactly.
Okay. So let's just take the label of work away.
Okay.
And let's go directly to this part of you that feels like it's not being challenged or it's craving fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
So explain to me that you know it's there.
Yeah, so I can tell it's there because certain things or subjects where I can feel the shift in my energy and my excitement. So there are aspects of my job that I really enjoy. It's just not very much of it. So whenever I get a chance to coach somebody on my team for a role or for a leadership opportunity or giving them feedback on kind of how to show up in a more defined way, I get really excited. And then I also find that same excitement outside of work where like if I have a friend that's like, I'm thinking about starting a small business or I'm thinking about this, I'm like, oh, let's talk about that. Let's talk about, and it's so easy for me and my intuition to like key in on things when it's somebody else. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's so obvious to me what you should do. Let me help you. Let me help you get that courage to move forward. And clearly everyone understands that you should do that. But that's, and that's the stuff that lights me up and I get really excited. And then 90% of my job is not that. And that's the stuff where at the end of the day, I'm just exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key word I would say is because I'm doing a lot of things that don't excite me. I'm exhausted at the end of the day.
Awesome. Have you read The Big Leap?
I haven't.
That's a really good place. I read the book. It's one of those books that you can read again and again, but they talk about the zone of excellence and the zone of genius. And so many professional women end up in the zone of excellence. You're like, yeah, I could do this with my eyes closed, but it's not genius because it doesn't light you up.
Yes.
And then oftentimes you'll leave your zone of excellence. Like you get the courage to leave the golden handcuffs or whatever and leave your job or get another job. And then you end up in the same zone of excellence because it's your comfort zone.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Because the genius is a little scary.
It is definitely scary. Yeah. To your point, I've in every career I've been in, well, it's the same career, but in every role or job and within the corporate environment, I've done really well. So it's so hard to walk away from that because you're like, the world tells me I'm set, so I should just be happy. Why can't I just be happy? Can I eat more, drink more, do more meditation? I don't know. What do I need more of to make me happy? Because I should be. And then it's coming back up.
Just be you. Which is okay. So ultimately, the genius, which you wrote while I was taking notes, you were talking about when I'm in a coaching role, when I'm in a leadership role, when I can give feedback, when I can brainstorm with people, like I'm getting so excited. And I said that to you when we started. I'm like, I love making people uncomfortable, pushing them in the deep end. Like I get excited about that. And you're over there going like, this isn't fun for me, Heather, like stop doing this. But for me, it's because I can see you can see the potential outside of yourself. And we all need that, right? So I work with people, I hire people to help me get out of my own way. And there is something to be said about that person that's taking a stand for you. And you're like, I don't believe in myself. I can't do this. So we have to let go of the how. So don't worry about the how or what am I supposed to do yet. Okay. Let's just focus on the word genius, like the area of your genius, which we hear as purpose or alignment, like whatever language that is, just pick and choose your own language that you identify as, but stuff that feels good. Okay. Now let's talk about resistance versus tuition or intuition. Yes. So let's go there. Okay. So do you want me to kind of talk through about that recent opportunity? Whatever. Yeah. All right. So like I said, for the last 5 years, I've been thinking, well, maybe this, well, maybe this. And I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm working at the best company in the best role in the best opportunity I could. And I'm still like, nope, not it. And so I've joined your coaching program, which I love, by the way. Plug for your coaching program. It's been amazing. And the reason why is I need that additional support
to figure out kind of what that next step looks like. And where I'm struggling a little bit is there was an opportunity that came up, and it's a business broker opportunity where you help small businesses and you help people either sell or buy small businesses. And that's part of our story too, is that my husband was struggling with his career. And so I was able to, do my research. We brainstormed, figure out what his values were, what we wanted to look, and I helped him find a small business that fits really well for our family. And so he's had it for almost 2 years, and we like tripled it. It's been amazing. And then along the way, I've looked at other businesses. I'm like, oh, this is great. And I actually found someone who's one of our wholesale suppliers, and they purchased that business. And I'm like, this is so much fun. Like I'm not even a broker. I don't have a license, but yet I'm like doing this on the side and getting no money for it. Maybe this is something I should do. And then along with that, I've had friends reach out and be like, hey, can you do my resume? Can you do my cover letter? Can you coach me on interview skills? Can you help me figure out what I want to do with my career? And I've actually turned people down because I'm like, I don't have enough time to do my full-time job and do that. And anyways, so there's a couple opportunities and I can see them, but then I'm like, but what's going to make it, then in the back of my head, I'm like, well, am I resisting it because I'm like, well, I have to make this amount of money. How is that going to work? And the how gets me tripped up. Or is it my intuition saying, no, this isn't the right fit for you, or this isn't the right fit for you right now? And my brain flip-flops between, and I get stuck.
Perfect. I think I can clearly see the answer for you here, but I'm going to...
Can you just tell me, Heather?
I will.
Just go right there.
So I will tell you. So here's the thing where I tell people, I'm going to say something, but you have to, when it lands on you, you have to then observe how it landed. Did it excite you? Was it like she's giving me permission? Or I just had this conversation with my husband yesterday because I wanted to buy a new car. And so I'm having the mental game with myself of like, oh, don't be, you don't need it. Like, the back and forth. And he's like, then don't buy it. And when he said that, I was like angry. Like I secretly wanted him to be like, you deserve this, go for it, whatever. And I'm like, oh, I really want this. I'm not giving myself permission to want it. So pay attention how it lands. I will tell you, but you were smiling when you were talking about doing this for free. You're like, oh, I've already been doing this. And the how, that comes. So I call it breadcrumbs when they're right in front of you. The only breadcrumb you have right now regarding this opportunity is it's been presented to you. Like that's the next how in front of you. And then you figure out that how, and maybe you're like 3 or 4 hows in, and then all of a sudden your body's like, not this, not this, not this. And you have to figure out, is this not this resistance, or is it my intuition? And the only way you know that is through action, like taking action. So the sitting and waiting can be detrimental sometimes. And sometimes it is also essential, but I would say you've kind of been waiting for 5 years. Like it's not like, oh, I had a bad day at work. All of a sudden, oh, squirrel opportunity, right? Like you've been feeling this for a while and now it's coming. And then, so when you think of your area of genius, leadership, feedback, brainstorming, coaching, does this opportunity give you access to that?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know if this specific opportunity in how it's been traditionally done gives me opportunity for that. But I think if I were to move forward with it, I would do it differently so that I could, how what makes me more excited about it is like working with people and helping them figure out their values along with their, like, what is the right business for your lifestyle? And, or if you're selling, what's the legacy you want to leave? How do you want to work with what kind of buyers are you looking for? Where would you feel good about moving on from that? Because that is a lot of like small business ownership, like letting go, and then also the exciting jump. So I see a lot, and this is my feminist side, I see a lot of white males doing business brokerage, and that just makes me frustrated because I'm like, there are women business owners or there needs to be more women business owners. So like that would be I think what would light me up is helping women, to your point, get that leadership role, feel that confidence, move forward into that. So I think I could make it that, but I don't know, maybe that's pushing.
Well, I do attract a lot of women that are like the change makers, and they're like, this traditional model is not working. So, and again, you go in with that direct ask, right? You're like, this is what it's going to look like if I take over. This is what it, and I've said that to a lot of people who are even negotiating in corporate, and they'll have headhunters coming for them being like, oh, they want this job and it's this, and this is the description. It's like, you want me. If you want me, this is how I'm going to perform for you, and how I'm going to do it amazing. But if you're going to try to manipulate and tell me who I need to be, you actually don't want me.
That's really good. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's good.
And the world needs change, and you know that. So let's pretend just for this opportunity. It may be right, maybe wrong, who knows. But let's pretend you are saying yes to the opportunity.
Okay.
And I think I gave you this assignment previously.
You did.
Did you do it?
I did.
And what happened?
So you told me to pretend like I was going to say yes, or to get in that mindset of like, I'm moving forward with this, and then sit with that and see how that made my body feel. And it's funny because I immediately started visualizing what it could look like, and I got really excited. And then I was starting to think of all the steps to get there, the how. It was like a little overwhelming. But overall, I felt excited. But what's interesting, what you said earlier is you said, bring it with yourself authentically, like if the job hunter, you're saying, okay, this is what it's going to look like. That was the one piece that was very clear to me, is that I need to make sure I am honest about who I am, how I will show up, and what that's going to look like. And that will be, for me, a very clear direction. If they're like, that's not going to be a good fit for us, and then I'm going to be like, that's not going to be a good fit for me. So I did really feel a strong sense that that's going to be a good guiding light for me.
Awesome. And I think that's why when, people are like, I'm a people pleaser, I'm like, you can say you're a people pleaser, or it's just you haven't figured out your values yet, or my dryer is going on behind me anyway. So I'm like, this is life. So yeah, understanding your values and then how to convey that value when you're trying to pitch it. Because what a beautiful win-win when you're like, this is who I am. This is how I would do it. This is how I would show up. And they're like, ooh, that's not going to work. You're like, great. So much better than getting so deep into this process and then me being like, my intuition is telling me no, and I'm just not honoring it. So right up front, if you're showing up as all you can, if there's a roadblock or something that feels out of alignment, it's going to pop up real quick. Did you practice not pretending you're not doing it?
I did. So then you gave great advice and said, after you've said in your mind, I'm going to do it, check in. And then after you say in your mind, you're not going to do it, what does that feel like? So I definitely felt almost like a sense in my body where it was like, well, here we go some more. Almost like a settling feeling, like, well, I guess we're just going to sit in the same role a little bit longer, and it's just going to be just like my energy just dropped.
Like, wow, that does not feel or look. You're like sad, like Eeyore.
That's how I felt. And yes, so I was like, oh, that's probably a good indicator that something needs to change. So.
Yeah. And you don't have to commit to anything, right? It's just the how will bring you into the future of what doesn't even exist yet. Like, I've told the story many times about when I was on the bathroom floor and I was going through chemo and I'm like, I'm going to die. And I'm like, but Heather, right now in this moment, you're not dead. I was predicting the future and we're all going to die, but we don't think about that. So when I'm like, come back, come back. So in the moment, you're like, I don't even need to know that yet. All I need to know is that the next right thing in front of me was I needed to make a decision. Am I giving this more energy or am I saying no, thank you? So based off of this, my observation is you give it more energy. You say, okay, I'm gonna take this breadcrumb. And then I'll take the next one and then the next one until something comes where it's like, oh no.
So you feel like the problem is that I'm projecting too far out in the future, and that what I really need to do is just say, in this moment, for this next one little baby step, does this feel good in my body? And if so, I'm going to follow this little crumb. And if I keep doing that, eventually, if it starts to go the wrong direction, I'll feel this really strong sense of no.
Oh my gosh. I'm surprised the other children will walk in.
That's
He opens the door. He's like, I'm not in here. I'm like, yes, you are. Get out. I heard you. And yes, but here's the thing. You also brainstorm and talk this out with people and you get their feedback and you have to go, do I even respect that person and the feedback that they're giving me? Are they someone who's living full out, or are they, are they comfortable in their corporate job and they would never take a risk like that? Right.
That's actually a really good call out, because there are a lot of people that I'm good friends with who are not, they like their corporate job. They like the steadiness of it. They aren't desiring anything else. And they seem so happy. And I'm almost jealous of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, that must be really nice to just be so content. And I've like worked so hard to get more content, just haven't gotten there. I think the other piece that I struggle with is, and I'm sure you've had this experience when you're making your transition, is feeling like it's a little bit selfish, because my family's happy that I'm in my corporate job. They get to, live in a nice house and have the positive things about that. And am I stirring the pot or causing too much by asking for more or wanting more? Is that, and I already know what you're probably going to say to this, but I'm verbally communicating it out loud so you can hold me accountable to not go back to that. But that is like an easy, well, my family's happy, so I should just be happy and suck it up.
Yes. Now the vacuum cleaner has started. Can you hear the vacuum cleaner?
There's a lot of cleaning.
We got to get the dogs barking and 2 more children to interrupt. So
that means we're probably having a really good conversation, is what I found out. Is it's like right when it's something really good is when like a bird flies into a window or something.
Yes. You're like, oh yes. And this is also outsourcing, because hiring support in the home was so difficult for me for many, many years. And now every time she walks in my house every Thursday, I look at her and I'm like, you are my favorite person to see on Thursdays. And I'm like, you're cheaper than therapy. And I'm so grateful for you. And she folds my underwear.
Oh my gosh.
Marie Kondo style, puts it in the drawer, and I open it and I'm like, ah. It's the little things.
Amazing.
It's the little things. Okay. This is the brave zone. This is when I'm just going to pretend she's not vacuuming. So this is when you are stepping into your area of genius, the knowing, that feeling. And that's also the beauty of having support and a community around you of people who are going to hold you accountable. Because now every time you send me a message, I'm going to be like, hello. It's scary. It's emotionally uncomfortable, because excitement and fear can feel like the same thing in your body. And it's almost like this vibration. And some people, the second they invest in themselves or say yes to an opportunity, they'll say, what the fuck did I just do? And I'm like, it's like oil and water, right? You've been letting it settle for so long, letting yourself settle and saying, I shouldn't want more. Oh, there's so many people in the world that would beg to have the opportunity that I have and the money that I have and the access to opportunity that I have. And I'm like, yes, but you weren't put on this earth at this time with those desires inside of you to settle. And when you give yourself permission to go, I'm just going to figure out what this desire is and lean in, everyone benefits because you're more fulfilled, you have more opportunity, and whatever your why is, and your why can be for your family, but heck, it could be to give back. Like to give back, like think about the last year plus for small business. And for you to like dive in and be like, okay, I'm going to do these things, but we're also going to make sure that you get what you need so that there's food on the table for your family and your business is thriving, or you get to walk away and go live your life. How do those people benefit from you saying, I just don't want to be the disruptor in my family?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good call. No, yeah, that's kind of what I need to keep remembering, because it's so easy for me to go to my kids and my husband and just put my brain there and not think, am I not putting out into the world something that needs to be out in the world and doing a disservice to people? And yeah, that's a really good feeling all the feels on that one.
When you go to that, I'm gonna vomit now. That's where you and two other things, like just a quick tool is when I get in that space, which I still do, and it's a daily practice and recommitment to my why for many, many years. I'm like, can I just be normal? Can I just go get a job? Oh, that would be so much easier. And I'm like, listen, you already had that, Heather. It wasn't easy. It's not easy for anyone. It's, everyone has their stuff, but the grass is not greener on the other side. And it comes to, I think, a place of self-acceptance that you are meant to feel good and that you weren't meant to be content in the container that you're currently in.
Oh, that's so good. I'm going to write that down because I need to look at that every day. Because to your point, I think that self-acceptance piece is huge, because I think that's the biggest piece of resistance I've been struggling with, is not wanting to accept that reality of wanting, but then my body still wants it, and feeling almost like at not within alignment within myself. So that's a hard place to be. And then feeling a lot of guilt around that, like, because then I'm not showing up and being present for my kids, but then yet I'm telling myself I'm giving it to my kids what they need. So it's just, I think I just have to keep taking those little steps and not projecting out what that future looks like, and not being like, but how do I hit this salary again? Because I think that's what's continued to trip me up. And yeah, I don't know if you want me to say, but one of the things you kind of convinced me to do was start an Instagram page, and just to talk about my truth and speak my truth. And I've honestly always had like throat problems. And I think it's because I just was always holding back what I wanted to say. And I've just been saying things and I've hated it. And I've only been doing it for like, not even a full month. And since then, all of a sudden it's getting easier. I'm getting more confident in what I'm saying. I'm feeling so much better. And I don't even know that it's changing anyone's life, but it's like I'm being true to myself, and that is changing my life. That is making me get up in the morning and feel so much more, I don't know, just fulfilled, I guess. And it's just something so little. And I hated that you suggested it, and it was so good. So thank you.
Who needs cough drops when you can just do a daily Instagram photo or video? There is something about being seen, right? Because there's this mental perception where people are like, I could never do that. I'm like, you have 2 followers. Like, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. It's the potential. I always feel safe on the podcast, like my little container of space. I'm like, oh, nobody listens to it. And then meanwhile, there's like millions of downloads. I'm like, nobody listens. But the second I take that recording and I put it on Instagram, which has way less followers, I freak out mentally. And yeah, it's just interesting how the brain tries to keep us safe. But what you just said is, I've always had throat problems. And so, yes, throat is typically around speaking your truth. And then the second you gave yourself permission to speak your truth, you felt better. Like, oh, okay, I can tell that this is headed in the right direction. And again, that's a breadcrumb. You don't have to decide you're going to become a public speaker or that your business strategy is going to be a full-blown Instagram. You might not even use Instagram, but we just have to listen to these little pieces. So I just want to say thank you for being brave. Do you feel like you got some clarity today?
I did. What's ironic is I feel like you said what I thought you were going to say. So.
Always.
But I am so glad to have like someone outside of my own brain confirming what I've been feeling, but also scared and feel a little bit gross inside because I'm like, what does that mean? But I'm just gonna sit in that, and I'm just gonna trust the process, and I'm just gonna, give myself some grace and just take the next little baby step. That's all I'm holding myself accountable to is one little step in the direction that feels good. Maybe one video post today. So, just a little thing. So,
and I believe kind of what you just said, which is, the answer, like, the knowing, and everyone is just here to guide each other back home, right? Some people will do it directly, assertively, like me, and then others will be the catalyst. Like it might be the yoga teacher or the meditation teacher. Like all we're doing is just what do you think? I always tell people, I'm like, what do you think you should do? Well, I don't know. I'm like, well, you don't know. I don't know either. But I want you to like give me something, and then I can help you figure that out. And then that's how we co-create. But I think too often we get scared, and then we're trying to make other people make the decisions for us. And then you do that and you build that business or that life, and you're like, not this, not this, not this. How did I get here? And I'm like, because you were on someone else's model, someone else's template, someone else's blueprint. So I'm excited to see where you go.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate this. It was super helpful.
Well, that's it. And I wanted to thank you for listening today, because I truly believe you are exactly where you need to be. And now I have a favor to ask. In exchange for the value you've gained from this free podcast, I'd be forever grateful if you would leave us a review on iTunes. Share the show with at least one woman in your life who you feel would benefit, and/or take a screenshot and share it on social media. And always feel free to tag me at Heather Chauvin. The world does not benefit from your guilt and fatigue. The world needs more women who are willing to unlearn everything they've been taught. Women who are courageous enough to feel good and not let guilt run the show. I believe you are that courageous woman. To see if my community and coaching is the right fit for you and your big vision, the relationships you desire, the money, time, energy that you know deep down you are capable of creating, then head on over to heatherchauvin.com/work with me. That's Heather Chauvin, CHAUVIN.com/work with me, and take the next step in the right direction. Taking a stand for how you feel means you are taking a stand for how your children show up as adults. And if you have a personal question or topic you'd like me to answer on the podcast, text me 313-710-5199. 313-710-5199. You are so worthy of feeling good. Now go do some scary shit.
In my office, he interrupted me, and I was like, I just need to finish this. And it just asked a few questions, and I just answered them like with what was on my heart and what I felt. And it said, like, why are you interested in doing this? And I thought, I don't really even know that I am interested in doing it because I want to know more. But I just answered the questions and took some action there. But after that, I started Mastery, and we work on something called energetic time management quite a bit. And it has transformed my life. So now I look at things from what is the highest leverage action that I could take.
Yeah.
I do my big brain dump list of all the things, which is still excessive. It's still a lot of my perfectionist ways that I have all these things, and I'm still working on it. I'm very much a work in progress with it, but I don't feel panicked about time anymore. I don't feel like I don't have enough time. I feel like I have control over how I want to feel during my week and what actions I need to take to feel alive, connected, vibrant, and peaceful, which are my core desired feelings.